Well, hello YouTube, how you doing? Look, it's about time that I had a fucking rant on something, and to be honest, it's going to be down on my internet again. I probably mention my internet about a million fucking times in a given situation. I know my internet's a piece of shit, and I'm aware of the fact that it absolutely shits itself half the time when I'm trying to do anything, regardless of what it may be, whether it's uploading, downloading, or shoving something, or trying to upload something up my ass. I don't know. My point is, it's pissing me off, and it's annoying the fuck out of me, and it's giving me the absolute fucking shits. To the point where I would prefer my internet to be on the scale of actually being better, you know, fibre optic or fucking VDSL would be better than what the shit I've got at the moment, because the shit I've got at the moment is just absolutely abysmally fucked. And that's probably just the best description I can give to it. At the end of it, though, my personal opinion of my internet, at the end of it, or my personal opinion of the Abbott government, is they can stuff their policies fair right up their arse, because their policies are about as fair to any common layman or any common businessman or anybody who's just trying to do well, or not do well, anybody who's trying to do anything related to the common man. I mean, fuck, I don't know, our current government's just, yeah, there are no words to describe what Mr. Tony Abbott has done for our country and how much he's fucked it up and how much he's rammed a dildo up its arse, which is the capital problem of our country, unfortunately, because, you know, that's just the fact that the government's fucking us all 5 ways from Sunday. I mean, it's either, you know, you're either getting fucked in the arse or you're getting fucked in some other orifice. So the point that I'm trying to make and the point that I'm trying to come across with is that I'm particularly pissed off with the way they've handled the NBN implementation at this point. I mean, look at the fucking NBN, for God's sakes. They can't even get their ass off the ground. I've actually managed to call the fucking NBN, get in contact with them. They've pretty much said, oh, I'm sorry, sir, well, we're not exactly sure when the NBNs are going to come to your fucking area. No idea at all. We really don't know, and we could really care less because, you know, we've got so many other customers and things to deal with. And it's like, well, fuck you too. It's exactly how I feel. Which, you know, I mean, I'm not saying that they're actually saying that, but it does feel like that when you're fobbed off a bit by the company. At the other end of the spectrum, it's going to cost me too much to get on a single line ADSL or ADSL2 off the Transact network, because it's sort of, to be honest, I think it's a little bit related to Transact, and it's a little bit related to IONET takeover. Basically, between the two of the companies, they've tried to merge themselves together, but they haven't quite merged themselves together, because the other side of the spectrum of the merging themselves to fucking together is that it's come down to this simply, it's come down to this fact. They've tried to merge, but it just doesn't work, because they still have separate systems in support for fucking Transact itself, right? I know exactly what's going on because I spoke to every single technician on the phone. I've had in-depth conversations with line technicians. You fucking name it. I've had conversations with every fucking single one of them, and they all tell me the exact same thing. It's all down to the CEOs being dicks. I totally agree. There's probably some CEO sitting back getting fat back, you know, fucking fat kickbacks and shit like that. I'm not arguing that. But my point is, and the thing I'm trying to come across to you with is, this is just bullshit in my mind. The end consumer suffers, the end consumer just gets fucked in the ass by the company, either way by increased rental fees, you know, general factor that, you know, the normal amount. And I mean, and when you turn around and you want to actually fix something, it's pretty much, oh, I'm sorry, we can't fix that, it's going to cost $300 to fix, or something of that nature. I'm sorry. At the end of it, if it's going to cost $300 to fix, which I find that a little hard to believe, but at the same time I can sort of understand the bureaucracy involved with Telstra and these other companies. Apparently Transact, this is something Transact does, they have a port number, which I'm pretty sure this is related, because I actually tried to go with Telstra and a couple of mainstream telco providers, and they all told me the same thing. I have to pretty much create a new connection with Telstra to be able to get around everything. Because, unfortunately, and the sad truth of the situation is, IONET is, well, not just IONET, but IONET / Transact is their own fucking network. They're their own glory of network. Thing is, you get locked into a fucking plan, so much to say, and that plan entitles you to just that specific network and the specific things that go on in that network. Now, this is just from personal experience of talking to the technicians and hearing the different things that they have told me. And I've also come across the fact that, I mean, it's also tracing back to the NBN as well. The NBN is not willing to look after the lines. They've been put in charge of repairing the lines, but they don't necessarily want to repair them. Now the other spectrum is, and the other thing is that Telstra have a certain standard of what a line should be. Their standard is below par, subpar. I mean, if the fact that they're repairing the fucking lines with Coke bottles and fucking plastic bags is any indication, their fucking standards are so in the toilet that they may as well just, you know, cover themselves in shit and call themselves a fucking pig. Alright? At the end of it, that's the problem with the network standards in Australia, especially when it comes to networking standards, additionally with, you know, computers in general. Alright? Why is Australia being held back technologically? It's because it's all coming back and all focusing on the fact that we can't get technologically ahead because we're so fucked in the arse with a bad broadband that we can't get the connection up to where we want it to be. Alright? That is the fucking issue. That is the problem. My girlfriend's sticking her tongue out at me at the moment, which is quite hilarious. I do love her. She loves to make me laugh. The point that I'm trying to make, and the point that I'm trying to come across, and the things that are relevant to me in my mind, is that this bullshit is just candidly clear that they're not doing the right thing by any consumer or any business practice. They're only doing what suits them. At the end of it, we are living in an archaic government that doesn't understand that an internet is an essential part of life, especially if you live in this modern day age and you are in the IT industry or you do some type of IT stuff. You need interactive technology. You need to be able to get online. You need to be able to shop online. You need to be able to order supplies, whatever the fuck you do online. And my point, there's a lot of social networking stuff as well, but social networking stuff also equates to business too. Now, at the side of the point, some of it works, some of it doesn't. Some of it just skews off into the toilet. Because, I mean, to be honest, there's just certain aspects of ISPs. I mean, it's not necessarily always directly the ISP's fault that their lines and their fucking connection are in the toilet. It's more down to the backhaul most of the time, which the two backhaul providers in Australia are Telstra and Optus. These two fucking Telstra and Optus providers, which have been researching this intentionally. My point is, we have two providers. We have Telstra, we have Optus. These are the only two big backhaul providers in Australia that provide enough telco, and they provide to all the third-party fucking telcos on top of that. So all the fucking bandwidth is going through one single or two single ISPs. At the end of it, it's just two of them, alright? It's only two. It's like probably there's a sense of only two cables going overseas or whatever, you know. My point is, all this shit relates to the fact that we've only got these two top companies monopolising the one big ass connection that goes overseas. This is the reason we're having a lot of issues with backhauling data, and I'm assuming we're just having a lot of issues with slow connections. And this is just from the research I've done online myself personally. And it's ridiculous. Consumers are getting fucked in the ass because, you know, Telstra and fucking Optus are not willing to provide better connections. They're not willing to provide this stuff. They're not willing to put it out there, and they're not actually willing to put their money where their fucking mouth is and say, okay, let's build more lines and let's do more of this. Look, at the end of it, if we put more money into future infrastructure, which I believe NBN or the broadband network that the fucking government supposedly is actually working on, which I'll believe it when I fucking see it, because the parts of Canberra that would be me and other parts of Canberra, like a big fucking gaping hole in the middle of Canberra, has not even been covered by the NBN yet, which is bullshit, I'm sorry. But to me, it's just the biggest load of horse shit I've ever heard in my life. It's like, oh, I'm sorry, we can't afford the contractors, this and that. I mean, okay, you know, some people do stupid shit, I'm not arguing that. You know, at the end of it, contractors are going to make stupid choices, you know. Okay, here's the thing. When you're building a big fucking infrastructure, like a big fucking broadband fibre optic network, you have to plan for the eventuality that some idiot's going to fuck something up. Because there's always some fucking retard in life who will fuck it up for everybody else. And they're just going to fuck it regardless. Because they're idiots and they're fuckwits to start with. And they're probably the dumbest people on the earth. And my point is, there are people out there like that. There are people in this population who could barely muster one brain cell in their whole fucking head. Alright? But we have to learn to live with these people in society, and we have to learn to go, okay, hold on a second, I'm going to plan for eventuality that some idiot's going to go and fuck everything in the arse capitally. So, at the end of it, what does it come down to? Shit planning. Shit planning, not being able to plan ahead, not focusing on what you could plan or the eventualities you could plan for in the first fucking place. if chaos theory teaches you any motherfucking thing, if something can fucking go wrong, it will go wrong. And it will get capitally fucked in the ass. It will get fist mounted and pounded. You will get a fist up your ass. That's just the world, alright? People are going to get fucked 5 ways from Sunday. I'm probably being totally outrageous with some of the shit I'm saying, but I really give a flying fuck. Because this is a rant video about the state of broadband in this country, because our government firstly invests, oh yes, I'm going to be wise, I'm going to invest in good internet. I'm going to invest in the fact that my internet's going to be actually, functional for Australian citizens, and it's going to be good for business and things like that. But at the end of it, yeah, they've got a fuckload of places set out, but the problem is, the rest of it, they're going to lay out. I know this, right, because I talk to one of the fucking cablers, right? I know for a fact that they're not going to be using fibre optic cable anymore. In some of the connections, they're going to be using substandard copper cable, and they're going to try and use the current infrastructure to implement it. I'm sorry, the current infrastructure, which is currently fucking copper 100-year-old fucking copper lines from, Telstra. They're useless. They're useless as tits on a bull, alright? I'm sorry, but they're useless, they serve no purpose, they're aging, and they will not support the data that you need to push through them. The data rates that you need to push through those cables are just it's impossible, alright? You're asking the impossible because you're asking for graded technology like that. Unless you can find some new fucking fancy-ass algorithm or something to push something down those cables. But the truth is, speaking to a cabler from personal experience, cables have said the same thing. You can't push that much. You can't push the amount of data they're trying to push down those cables to actually get it out to the people and actually get a better connection. So at the end of it, what's the easiest option? Look, okay, you want to save a few bucks. I guess it's the big thing, budget. Why don't you turn around and actually replace aging copper cables with newer type copper? Well, not exactly copper, but maybe VDSL cables or something like that. All right. It doesn't have to be the fastest fucking cable on the planet, but get it faster than what it is, because those copper cables will not support the infrastructure. They will not support a fucking thing. And it's absolute bullshit, because at the end of it, there's a lot of people in government, and certain CEOs as well, that know this, and they could give a fuck less because they're getting a shitload of money. At the end of it, it's greedy fucking retards who fuck this world in the arse capitally. And most of them are in government, I'm just saying this. And I will just make this point, potentially all of them are in government. Well, maybe not all of them, there might be a few. I've got to admit, there's probably some good people in government too, but fuck me sideways, there's a lot of shitheads in government too. At the other end of the spectrum, people, you've got to consider the consequences of actions, and you've got to consider the consequences of what... Okay, future consequences. Our government consider the future consequences of what our network is going to be like in the future. We, as a country, need to grow and evolve technologically. We don't need to fucking stay in the fucking computer stone age, pretty much. Alright, at the end of it, computer stone age is not going to do a fucking thing, and it's not going to fucking help our development at all. As a nation, as a productivity place, and businesses in general, it's not going to help all this shit, It's going to fuck it. It's going to capitally do it. And the truth of the matter is, it's just all bullshit. And at the end of it, I personally can't understand what the government's... the thing I think these Malcolm Turnbulls and these Joe Hockeys and stuff, they've never spoken to a common person, or they've never spoken to common people with a relative amount of knowledge on the subjects in question, whether it's down to specifics. Now, at the end of it, if you talk to the technicians and the line technicians and people who work on this stuff every single fucking day, you will find that they will tell you exactly what needs to be known about it, but you're not willing to listen to people, are you? You're only willing to listen to the fact that your back pocket might get lined if you go with a certain recommendation from a friend or whatever. Look, it's bullshit in my mind, and it's fucking stupid. At the end of it, we need a better infrastructure. We need a better network. We need a better fucking phone network, for that matter. At the end of it, it needs to be fixed. Simple as that. I just, I've had a gutful of it. I really have. I've had a gutful of having to deal with either constantly calling to get my connection fixed up properly, adjusting line values, waiting for my connection to fall into the fucking ground, basically, before anything can really be done about it. At the end, it's a combination of people to blame. It's not just one person, it's a set of people, specifically government related, back to the telcos, then it goes back to Telstra. It's like a big fucking circle jerk. And the truth is that is just how it is. It's just, you know, it's those sets of people that are to blame for the current situation and the current prospect of broadband or broadband not working properly. Now, at the end of it, you know, I think something should be done about it. I think petitions should be put up, and I'm probably there's been a few petitions that have been put up over the years, but the percentage of them are getting ignored. And you know, as I said, the Labor government had the right plan implementing the broadband network the way they did. Okay, sure, it wasn't cost effective at first, but I mean, at the same time, who's using? Okay, at the end of it, what is the government turning around and saying? Okay, so it's a budget. I mean, sustainable budgets. You know, look. At the end of it, I can understand you want to save a bit of money. I'm not arguing that. But you've also got to look from the perspective that, you know, there's different systems in place, you know. I think it's detrimental to business killing the broadband, to be honest. Worst thing you can do. Detrimental to business in any hand. On the other spectrum, aside from being detrimental to business, it's, you know, generally people are happy. I mean, from my personal experiences, especially when it comes to people even on a low income, you know, good internet for everybody would just make sense, you know. A lot of these European countries do pretty well with it. They do a lot better than fucking Australia, and, you know, it should be a nation's pride to have a better broadband network than we do. The broadband network we have here is just absolutely atrocious. Even some of our wireless services are quite questionable. So, you know, at the end of it, it happens, shit happens, but, you know, I hope somebody sees this rant at some point and maybe has an interesting, you know, an interest in it, whether it be a local person of Senate or whatever, or somebody in Labor, I don't know, I don't really care. My point is, I'm just trying to make an emphasis on how bad things are in the sense of internet connection, you know. Trying to remain, well, I mean, I'm trying to maintain a long-distance relationship with my girlfriend, which is not the easiest thing to do when you don't have the most reliable internet connection. I'm trying to run YouTube as our YouTube channel, which doesn't, you know, it's no good for, you know, no good when you haven't got a reliable channel. At the end of it, no, it just doesn't work. So, at the end of it, I hope somebody takes notice, and I know there's a lot of people in the same opinion that I've got in the world, that the internet does need adjustment and it does need rectification. If we can get it changed, if we can get things just moving a little more. I mean, if we can just get things moving, like, it just, you know, there's a whole fucking, like, blot of suburbs right in the middle of fucking Canberra that just have not been touched by the NBN. Yet, on the side notes, there's a lot of places that still go through it. You know, and I'm like, well, what the fuck? Seriously, it's not that fucking hard to touch that shit. It's not that fucking hard to go near it. So, you know, look. Just, seriously. Rant videos and all, you know. I mean, this is just my rant about the internet. I'll probably have it, oh, well, I don't know, I might rant a little more about some other stuff. Look, you know, look, there's lots of things that piss me off. There's also the fact that the government seems to think that everybody on a low income bracket or on a welfare bracket are bad people. Or they have some type of alternate agenda. Or they're criminalistic, or, you know, I mean, that's probably not even a word, but I just made it up anyway for the hell of it. My point is, everybody considered on a lower class bracket is considered, oh, you're like a derro, you're fucked, you know. And because you're a lower class citizen, you're not considered to have an opinion, or you shouldn't be considered to have a fucking opinion because of it. Bullshit, I'm sorry. But if you're a low class citizen, you have just as much as right as anybody who's got the fucking money to, you know, drive stakes through the fucking wall or whatever. My point is, everybody should have equal rights, regardless of what your fucking class is, regardless of what walk of life you come from. I think it comes down to people proving themselves, proving who they are, proving that they're trustworthy, proving that they have the ability to do what they need to do. The other side of the spectrum, they're trying to cut welfare, and, like, you know, at the end of it, they're cutting welfare, but they're cutting welfare in some of the wrong places. Because, okay, look, I'm not. There's people who probably wrote the system. I'm not arguing that. there's always going to be somebody who's going to take advantage of a system, regardless of what it is. They'll rort it. It's just who they are. It's how they're. It's almost like just them as a natural point. Now, yes, you get those people, and you're going to get them. The thing is, it's not everybody in the system who's fucking with it. It's not everybody who's going against it. It's not everybody who's playing it, you know, pushing it, fucking it, giving it a total fuck up. My point is, at the end of it, it's not everybody who's screwing with the system. If you're in charge of a country, at the end of it, I don't want everybody who's on a low income bracket or a welfare bracket to be considered in the same category. Because not everybody is out there to rip somebody off, and not everybody is out there to fuck with somebody, and not everybody is out there to, you know, some people are just surviving and living, you know, and doing what they do every day and getting along with life and doing things. Now, at the end of it, those people should have just as much right as somebody in a higher class bracket or somebody way higher on the spectrum, you know, somebody with more money. At the end of it, it's an unfair system because you see these people not gouging, but just the greedy fucks, you know, who take every piece of money and there's no money left for anybody else. I mean, if every rich cunt in the world gave somebody $2 on a random basis, here and there, we'd probably have a well better off with welfare that wouldn't need as much welfare, you know? If some bastard gave, you know, a random act of kindness never killed any motherfucker, to be honest. Being kind to somebody, being good to somebody has never killed anybody. You know what I mean? It's never made a bad impression. It's never fucked with people too badly. And the point that I'm trying to make is that people can afford, and you know, at the end of it, if you've got enough money, you can afford to be kind. There's nothing wrong with being kind. I mean, there's no, you don't want to send yourself fucking broke trying to help someone, but at the same side of the spectrum, there's nothing wrong with being kind. I mean, there's being greedy and there's being an asshole as well at the same time, you know? And I hate to say it, there's a lot more assholes and a lot more greedy fucks out there than I've ever come across these days. And at the end of it, it pisses me off. That pisses me off. The internet pisses off in this country, and the current government state pisses me off because they're idiots. They couldn't organise a fucking route in a brothel. I swear to God. You know, they're fucking idiots. The dumbest. I mean, if I had a choice between a monkey and Tony Abbott to run the country, I'd tell the fucking monkey to do it. I'd give the monkey a banana and let him run the country. He'd do a way better fucking job than that, than the current cunt that's in there. That's my fucking point. How much bullshit can I possibly handle, or how much bullshit can I handle in a given situation with this? Well, there's lots of stuff I can handle, there's lots of stuff I can't handle. There's certain things that I've come to the conclusion it's just inevitably life. Some people are just fuckwits and you cannot change them. No matter how many fucking times you want to change a person, you can't change them. They're just going to do what they want to do anyway, and that's just because they're fucking idiots. And the other side of the spectrum, we've got the current government. Some businesses are a bit stingy. You know, I mean, look, I'm not arguing. There are people who will take advantage of a business. No regard of that. So I'm all for, you know, protecting yourself as a business. But at the same time, if you do see somebody in a dire situation, don't be afraid to be kind. Don't be afraid to be nice. Show your true good human nature when you want to, because not many people show it anymore. Most people be pretty fucking selfish and pretty fucking self-absorbed, and they're so far up their own arse that they think their shit don't stink. And the end of it, the truth is it does. You know, because we all shit and it all stinks at some point. It's an emphasis for me, alright? I know I'm a good person. At the same time, I know there's good people out there, and there's bad people out there. There's a combination of people out there. But at the end of it, I personally am a little annoyed with the way this country is run. And not just the way this country is run, but also the way that people sort of, you know, just some of the shit that people take on. I mean, whether it be internet trolls trying to make other people's life miserable, you know. I'm all for a little fun here and there, but when it gets to a serious note and somebody, like, you troll somebody enough they want to kill themselves, that's fucking nasty. You are a depraved human being if you're doing something like that. If you're being that sneakily bad, where you're just going to get somebody to kill themselves because you're trolling that much because of it, I'm sorry. You're a bad human being. You have a bad, well, not just bad, you're a fucking evil human being, you know what I mean? At the other side of the spectrum too, I think sometimes you know, as I was saying, I think sometimes the sad truth of the situation is that you get these fucking people and you think, okay, hold on a second, what the fuck is wrong with these people? Seriously, do they have, you know, I don't know. Well, there's some people you wonder where it's, as I said, it's undiagnosed mental conditions. I know I have some mental issues, and I know I've had issues with anxiety, depression, psychosis, you know, fucking schizophrenia, ADHD, OCD, you know, Asperger's as well. This is my point. I've got all these conditions. I know I'm going to be a bit fucking bipolar myself. The personal point that I'm trying to make is we have all this shit, and the depravity that humans can fall to, especially I've seen on, especially the ones I've seen on the internet. Also, the depravity of how far humans can fall when it comes to being stupid. That's another thing as well. But fuck, at the end of it, you know, it doesn't kill you to be kind. It doesn't kill you to be good. It is okay to tell someone to fuck off if you need to. It is okay to defend yourself too, and it's okay to stand up for yourself and stand up for your rights, whether it be against a government or some type of authoritative figure, say per se in the sense of a government, you know, legislative police or whatever. My point is, there's nothing wrong with standing up. If you feel your rights are not being defended, if you feel that something is wrong and you're not going against the rules, and you're being framed or you're being pinned against because of who you are, then nothing wrong with fighting for yourself and defending yourself. At the end, there's nothing wrong with putting yourself out there and saying, okay, it wasn't my fucking fault, it wasn't me. Alright, so at the end of it, you know, that's my point. There's nothing wrong with that, and there's nothing wrong with any of that stuff. But, you know, at the end of it, it's basically internet, government, I don't know, religion I'll leave alone because I believe people have the right to practice a religion if they choose to. That's their choice. I do believe in religion in some context. I wouldn't say that I believe specifically in a specific deity. I just believe that there is things in this world that can't necessarily explain. So I'm spiritually minded, is the sense of things. So I'm spiritually minded, but at the same time as being spiritually minded, I also believe science has a lot of good answers as well. And science has come a long way in finding answers to the most common questions, especially some of the stuff that we didn't know about, you know, years ago. So, yeah, anyway, that's my point. I'm not going to argue about religion. Religion has never been a vocal point for me. But government, current state of government, current state of government, current state of as I said, current state of government, and then I've got the fact that, you know, people, the depravity that people can fall to, the levels that people can fall to, especially some of the evil shit that they do to people, the mean, nasty shit. This is my point. Nobody should have to go through that. Nobody should have to put up with that. And people should feel safe. People should feel safe in their own homes. People should feel safe by voicing their opinion. They should be free to voice their opinion and voice their points of view. Nothing wrong with that, you know. At the same time, if a vast majority agree with a certain number, or if the same majority share that same opinion, then it must be pretty, you know, must be pretty close to what the human race really wants, you know, and ultimately will have, you know, in the future possibly. So I'm going to leave it there anyway. Thank you. I'm going to leave it there. Thank you very much, YouTube. I'm going to leave it there, YouTube. Thank you very much. Hope you enjoyed my video. As always, like and subscribe. Yeah, blow my nose too. So, like and subscribe. Facebook, Twitter, Twitch TV, Instagram, yeah, all those. So, there's probably some others in there. There's probably some others I should include, but I don't know. Close enough. So I'm going to leave it there. Thank you very much. subscribe to my videos if you have some more interest in this. This is one of my rant videos. This is a random rant video, which, to be honest, is just some of the shit that I like to rant about from time to time, because it's good to rant. It's good to release the purified anger that you have, especially when it comes to your internet. Well, particular frustrations when it comes down to my internet, I have a lot of frustration. You know, that sort of frustration, you just want to strangle somebody. But my point is, okay, I'll leave it there for now. Thank you very much. Hope you enjoy my videos. Like and subscribe if you want to support my channel. There'll be a link up the top for supporting my channel and all my endeavours and projects and things like that. Alright, thank you very much, YouTube, and catch you. Bye.